Hello everyone, my name is Runo. Before we get to the stories, I'd like to show you my Twitch, where I'll be playing many scary games and games you would all like to see. If that interests you at all, link to my Twitch will be in the description. Follow and join me in being scared. I think I had an encounter with a Skinwalker when I was about 12 and my sister was 8. I'm 18 now. We went camping with our parents and close family friends up in Northern California. One night, the sun was just setting and my sister and I begged our parents to let us climb up a short hiking path to the top of this foresty hill. It was not visible from our camping site, but close enough that our parents said yes. The trail was steep and surrounded by huge trees. About halfway up the trail, I remember getting the worst feeling I felt in my life. It felt like something was following me and my blood ran cold. I've never wanted to leave somewhere faster, but since I promised my sister we would go to the top, I didn't say anything. As we climbed the hill, the feeling got so bad that I felt sick to my stomach. It was like something was right behind me. Right then, my sister slowly turned to me and said something along the lines of, "We need to get out of here." Out of the blue. I had not said a word to her about how I was feeling, and her saying that scared the shit out of me. We ran back down the trail into our campsite so fast and thankfully escaped whatever was in those woods. We both talked about it after and felt the exact same horrible fear, but didn't want to ruin the walk for each other. Still to this day, we can't forget that. Now I'm wondering, what was that? I have suspected maybe mountain lion, but the overwhelming sensation I felt of danger doesn't add up. I love reading about cryptids, and I'm thinking, maybe it was a Skinwalker. If anyone has any answers or has felt something similar, I would love to know. My boyfriend and I recently went camping at a Red River Gorge in Kentucky. Our first night we were there, we were hanging out in our tent, when all of a sudden we started to hear this really weird noise. It was really loud and almost sounded like someone humming, but in pain at the same time. It had recently rained really hard and a lot of places were flooded, so there wasn't many people camping that night. And not to mention, we were pretty deep in the woods, so I don't think it was an actual person. Fast forward to us sleeping. I thought I was dreaming that someone or something was outside our tent trying to get in. The next night my boyfriend asked me if I remember waking him up, to tell him someone was outside of the tent. And I don't, but he heard what sounded like a fingernail being run across the tent. I wish I would have recorded the noise that it was making, but I was so terrified I didn't even think about it. My boyfriend just thinks it was a coyote, but I've heard plenty of coyotes in my lifetime. I've never heard them sound like that. It sounded like so much like a person, but in a weird way, as if it was a recording. My aunt last night shared a terrifying story when we discussed Skinwalker and similar creatures. She said she was out in the pitch black forest camping. Went out to go piss, then suddenly heard the sound of a dog howling in the distance. That felt creepier than usual. Then the howl became super demonic and distorted sounding. She said she could hear it in front of her, on the side of her ears, behind her, above her, all at once, echoing like the voice was circling her, and she could feel it in her soul. This is when she realized this was not an animal. She then threw a beer can out in the distance into the darkness. And a second later, the beer can gets thrown directly back at her. She was praying a lot and super scared until it suddenly stopped after she yelled out rebuking it. Not sure what exactly this was she encountered, but the story creeps me out. She felt it to be an evil spirit imitating something to psychologically break her down. They say a lot of bad creepy stuff happens in the forests of Alaska, which is where we live, and she even found another guy who had a very similar experience with seeing a tall, standing, upright wolf-like figure in the same camping location this happened. More missing people than anywhere else in the world as well. No animals even hang out in the forest in the location she camped, so weirdly that shows something, and multiple people have witnessed a paranormal, wolf-like creature. I just thought I'd share what she told me. Me and my buddy, we'll call him Max for the time being, as well as this was about 6 months ago. We were driving up a mountain in Idaho that we've been driving or racing on for 2 years now. We were doing what we always do, drive fast, loud music, and talking about whatever. This time we were talking about some old native tales his Navajo friend told him about. And about 10 minutes later, I hit something. It felt fleshy, but I looked in the mirrors and there was nothing. We have felt that before, and last time, the light above us shattered and went off. However, glass never fell, and we heard running around us, so we just kept driving. I saw something in the tree line, hunched over, and about 5 feet tall while hunched. I got a decent look at it since we slowed down after hitting something. It looked like a deer, but kinda off. Longer face, way too tall to be a deer, and its joints looked off, like bending the wrong way, and I couldn't see if it had hooves or hands. We turned the music almost off and confirmed we saw the same thing, and then we hear sticks breaking to our left, and then a loud thud to our right, like something big dropped from a tree or jumped the road. Then we heard it running again, keeping up with us at about 37 to 40 miles per hour. We couldn't see it due to the bad headlights. Right before that happened, our windshield was swarmed with this white moth-like thing. Then, when the not deer or skinwalker thing stopped, they were nowhere to be seen. Heard more stuff breaking around us when we got to the top. I was going to take the dirt road down, but that sounded like a bad idea, and we were bobbing the hill back home. Haven't had that happen since. Any ideas what it could have been? If you got questions, I'll answer them the best I can, but that's essentially what happened. Alright, so here's what happened. This was all later at night, around 11:30 p.m. Me and my girlfriend were in the gravel lot in my SUV across from the high school where we were talking, and she eventually fell asleep, as we'd been walking around all day and the fair was in town. About 15 minutes after she fell asleep, I started getting an eerie feeling like I was being watched, and had a feeling like I had overstayed our welcome. I didn't like it at all, and always trust my gut when I get those feelings like that. So I started to wake up my girlfriend. Just as she was starting to wake up, I heard what sounded like someone shouting, kinda like a woo or ha, further away downhill into the meadow. I would have disregarded it, but it caught me off guard a bit since it sounded almost doubled, like the person had a chorus pedal or pitch shifter on their voice. It spooked me a bit because of that, and I hadn't heard anyone yell like that before. I finished waking up my girlfriend, and we drove away from there into an elementary school parking lot down the road from the hill leading to the new development. I told her what happened, and we joked about it being spooky and whatnot. I then looked up videos to try and find something that matched what I had heard, and Skinwalker screams or vocalizations were what matched up most. Unfortunately, I scrolled into the comments, which mentioned that the further away the scream is, the closer it is to you. It spooked me for a moment, but chalked it up to all coincidence. For fun, we decided to drive down the hill to the new development, as it's dark and spooky, and it has woods on one side where the park is, and has a gravel turnaround for vehicles with a gate at the other end, where the gravel path starts. As we were going down the hill near the top, I got a strange and uneasy feeling, almost like a slight panic, but it went away shortly after we got to the bottom of the hill. My girlfriend said she got the feeling as well, so we decided to turn around on the side street and leave. I decided to play some music that always helps to take the scared feeling away from me, the Doom Eternal soundtrack, specifically Super Gore Nest, and put the pedal to the metal on the accelerator whilst going up the hill to make me feel more comfortable and like nothing could touch me. When we were about 3/4 the way up the hill, the feeling came back and hit us full force. The closer we got to the top, where the trail comes out, the stronger it got. The only way I can describe it is pure terror. It wasn't fear or dread, it was terror. We both had a physical reaction to it. We got intense chills, and we could feel the goosebumps all on our skin and all over our body. We both started to get choked up and teary-eyed, and I became short of breath for a minute. I must have gone from 60 kilometers an hour up the hill, and the limit's 50, to about 80 after cresting the hill, and I felt like if we stopped, we surely would have died. It was the most petrifying experience either of us had ever had. We didn't even see anything. I've driven past many animals at night, from deer to bear to coyotes and many more, and I've been outside walking home alone at night with a bear going through garbage cans at my neighbors' houses. I've dirt biked past a mama bear with cubs and mama moose, and I thought that those were scary experiences. No scary experience I've had from a car accident when I was young to almost being hit 4 times doing road construction from dumb drivers can even come close to the feeling I had that night. The Doom soundtrack turned from the feeling of being a badass into feeling like it would have been the anthem of my death. It was truly the most terrifying experience of my life. After getting out of Dodge, we went to a well-lit mall parking lot and calmed down for a bit, still shaken. I drove my girlfriend home and had a very anxiety and fear-ridden drive home, as the park across from my house connects only 150-ish meters away from where the encounter took place. When I got home, I made sure everything was locked up tight, had a little bit of weed to calm down, and then we went to bed while on a video call with my girlfriend. That night, around 3:30 to 3:45 a.m., I woke up and I had a mild return of the panic feeling for about 5 minutes before falling back asleep. I dreamt of the experience the entire night. The next morning, my girlfriend told me she heard tapping on her window at around 3 o'clock a.m., which made me shudder as her window is around 9 feet off the ground. I don't know what to make of the experience and would appreciate some guidance into what this may have been. I've never liked walking in those woods alone, as I always get a creepy feeling, but I'm definitely not walking to my house alone at night ever again. We're going to go back and drive there at night again to see if it happens again. I'm not sure if that's a stupid idea, but my curiosity about cryptids and the like has been piqued, and I need to know what's lurking around out there.